I'm Mr. Rosansky, and this is a speed run of PSAT 8-9, Practice 2, the first module, the A module, the medium one. And let's get this started by heading to our first conventions question, which is not 15, not 16, and it's on 17. What a late game conventions, but that's okay. 17. Conventions, I'm going to check for my omega considerations as I always do. I've got verb popping, I've got a plural, I've got a neither, I've got a neither, and I've got a neither. So I'm going to bias the odd man out and go looking. I've got a subject right here, a verb that tells me when, and that's gorgeous. I'm just going to do a skimmerino later in the sentence to make sure that I don't have to avoid picking a verb that tells me when, but I don't, so easy. 18, conventions, omega considerations. What do we got? We've got verb again. Check for number. I've got a singular, a singular, a singular, and a plural. I'm going to bias the odd man out. I have no idea if this thing is singular or plural, so I'm glad I've got this little odd man out strategy. I can tell that it's trying to go that like a predicative nominative, since we've got a verbing, a form of to be, the right side mirrors the left side, that this is plural means that this must be plural. Fine. 19, omega considerations. What do we got? I've got nothing. It's almost like the complete sentence mix up with the fact that it's playing with buts, but it's completely not. I'll table him. It's not going to be a consistency question. This is bizarre. I can look around for a comma for lists or bridges, but I don't see that. So consistency unfortunately falls. Equivalence unfortunately falls. And now we're on the final four. We can go after this colon first. Do we have a complete sentence to the right? We don't. When you would read it, just considering to the left side. If you wouldn't use a period, you can't use a colon, just considering to the left side. And the but would be screaming to you like something's wrong because it's trying to coordinate something. So this would fall. What you would realize though is of these three things, this is just crazy awkward. This is awkward as well. I'm not saying that they could never be involved in the right answer, but this is a common and coordinating conjunction, which is exactly what we love in terms of joining two complete sentences. We found that there was nearly a complete sentence in A if we had stopped right before the but. The cricket, comma, allows us to have a complete sentence to the left. Does this form a complete sentence on the right side? We've got our subject is whatever this thing is, our verb is right there. Therefore, two complete sentences need to be joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction, not all of this garbage. We are on 20. What do we got for this omega consideration? Obviously, we have verbs, which is a beautiful thing. We love using the skills. We've got the they use, a as plural. We've got singular, and we've got singular. Let's pick the odd man out. Go looking for a reason to love it. We've got our subject not here. This is a prepositional phrase, and subjects are never in prepositional phrases. We've got our speakers. Speakers use. Gorgeous. We've got 21 on the table. Omega considerations. What do we've got? Nothing seems to be popping here. We're going to look for consistency now. I'm going to go after the semicolon first because he's super honest. I don't see a semicolon. However, I do see this little dash, Areno. Dash to dash. Can I read over the bridge and have it make sense? When exposed to low levels of the light, the plant's chloroplasts reshuffled. I absolutely love the way that sounds. And the thing under the bridge, the cellular organs, describes chloroplasts. So D is my gorgeous pick for consistency. We love this little dash. 22. We're going to check for omega considerations for this one. I don't see this. I've got a colon living over here, a semicolon, crazy stuff. So the omega considerations are going to fall. I'm going to move on to consistency now, which I have my fingers crossed something's going to get out of the way. I'm going to check the semicolon first, skimming this huge chunker for another semicolon. I don't see one. Therefore, in this step, this semicolon, in our third step rather, our equivalence step tells us that the semicolon equals the period, so it's not going to be either of these. So now these two things are on the table. We would make it to the final four because we're going to be considering what a colon is doing. I know that what I have to find is there a complete sentence to the left? If there's a complete sentence to the left, I know that A has to be the right answer because this it was is a subject and a verb of a new clause. So if I have a complete sentence to the left, this right side is going to be disgusting because two complete sentences cannot be joined by a comma. So is there a complete sentence to the left? Let's go looking. We have what it started as a local means of support. So what I want from you is you just read this and could you put a period right after extensive? If so, A is the right answer. Now, it's hard to diagram this sentence because we've got this thing right here is a dependent clause with what being both the subject and the thing that makes it dependent. Then it's a type of clause that functions as a nominal. It is the subject of another clause, and it's the subject of this one. Now, that's kind of complicated, but I think you could just read it and could put a period there. If you wouldn't think that it was, I still don't think you would like A. The right side does exemplify the left side. So on all fronts, A is gorgeous. 23, no more conventions questions. It was a good run while we had them. 23. Logical transition. Let's read the left side. The person wanted to incorporate elements of chance and randomness in his artistic process. He employed techniques that produce random. It's almost cause and effect, is my anticipation. Because he wanted to incorporate, he employed. That seems to be the cause and effect. The with this in mind is the closest thing to that cause and effect expectation that I had established. 24, another transition question. On the left side, sculptor starts by creating the base of the pot with a slab of clay. He builds the pot walls. This seems to be a sequence bit. Next is going to be what I pick. 25. The ancient Spartans were known for the bitingly concise, or a word that I don't know, but this describes it. Sorry. Wit, a quality they maintained even in the face of great peril. When Philip de threatened, he said, "If I invade, I shall turn you out." Bars. So this seems to be an instance of, even in the face of great peril, this threatened of invasion is one of many specific instances of the facage of great peril. So I'm looking for that contrast. This would be restating the exact same thing, but we're instantiating. 26. Let's parse out our goal. The student wants to describe where the person is in the photograph to an audience already familiar with. We've got where and we've got to an audience already familiar. So we have these two goals that we're going to look for. Is in a photograph by this person, a portrait photographer, where the person is in the photograph, not where they're based. So this falls on our pink goal. Is a photograph based? This falls on our pink goal. 5 painting grass can be seen in the background. Maybe move on. In the portrait of her, Fang is seated on the floor. Fang is seated in the photograph. Where is this person? The person is seated on the floor with 5 of her paintings resting in the wall bar. In the portrait, yes. So all of these can be seen in the background of the photograph. This doesn't say where the person is. D is the only one that gives us the access to pink. I'm not even going to check for yellow, and I'm not going to check for trueness because this is the only one that even tries to engage with the pink goal that we've parsed out. 27. Let's parse out another goal here. Wants to compare the causes of shyness, the causes of crown shyness proposed in the two theories. I want to compare the causes. All right. J proposes that crown shyness is caused by, okay, we've got a signal element while that I like. We've got a cause that it occurs. I like A. 27A is looking pretty cute. Both J and NG have proposed that explain what causes. This doesn't compare them. They could maybe have theoretically proposed the exact same theory and packaged in different words. B is going to fall. N posits the mutual shade, whereas. So this is a signal element of contrast. This doesn't really compare them, but I'm going to check to see if A is true. If A is true, C is going to fall just because it doesn't actually compare the causes. It just states that they have different theories. Jacob proposes J. According to J's theory, when trees brush against one another, branches break off. Neighboring tree branches brushing against each other. It's true. So A part 1 is true. I'm going to look to A part 2. NG. N posits when tree branches detect shade, when they get made fun of by other trees, when branches detect shade from nearby tree branches, detect shade, detect. So A is true, C is going to fall. J's mutual abrasion theory proposes that when neighboring trees brush against one another, branches represent a phenomenon in which the trees, this just gives us 1. A is true, therefore we love it. 1. Word choice. What do we got? I'm going to cough real quick. All right, we're back. It would be a mistake to blank the exhibit that artist curated. I don't see any signal elements. This defines the person, but that doesn't help me with my signal element. Has it organized? I have no idea what's going to go on. I guess the exhibit could be like a determiner that states to being known. So our signal element's going to be on this side, but we could have gone there anyway, is essential viewing. So it would be a mistake not to go. My anticipatory word is not to go to. The exhibit not to go to would be to overlook, is the closest thing that matches my expectations. We're going to nearly mean this to. We're most nearly meaning in this question. So I'm probably not going to have any signal elements. As long as Moss had lived in West Oakland, he'd never tried this specific view. So he pointed towards the window. For this exact view is what I'm looking for as my anticipatory word. Doesn't feel right, doesn't feel right. Correct. Particular is exactly what I'm landing on. I like particular for 2. 3. compares the text. We probably will have a signal element. These cats is going to kick us back. What are the kind of cats? Mostly alone and out of the way parts of mostly alone out of the way. These cats have long been difficult to research because their habitats are so isolated from is what I'm looking for here. Distant from is what it offers to me, and I like that choice. 4, I see a first section signal element. This is kind of a signal element that tells us we have 3 perspectives, but what are the perspectives? I don't see anything being offered in this first sentence, so we've got our signal element being just our sequence, first, second, and third. We've got like an eclectic bunch. We've got mother, eclectic, father. Different is probably just a better one, not eclectic. Different, distinct, required, unintended, unknown. Absolutely is 4 going to be A. 5. What is this sentence doing? Let's give it a little typerino. They argued that penguins, they could fly, but they lost it 60 million. So this is like feels like an assertion of their argument. As they adapted to, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I can imagine flying penguins. So let's engage. It defines a scientific term. Absolutely does not. There's no definition of a scientific term. I don't even care about what's saying about that follows. It contradicts a description in the sentence that follows. Maybe, I can't know until I read the next sentence, but I'll table that for now. It provides an answer to the question in the previous sentence. So both of these are demanding that I look into the text. So I'm going to go contradiction. So contradiction would mean that the following statement, they did not adapt to marine life. After examining various penguin fossils and genetic, the researchers concluded that over time developed underwater vision, blood. So this, it's not contradicting, it's supporting. So C's on the table. Let's look to D. It notes that the research question in the previous sentence has not been researched. No, they argue, so it has been researched. So C's got to be right. 6, what's the function of the underlined sentence? Let's do a little summarino, see what we've got here. To address this, we love to, that infinitive is a huge signal element. I feel like this is going to be easy peasy. To address this problem, to fix, to address, just summarize as is, that's huge. They use time-lapse cameras to record. Easy, easy, easy. So this is the function of like a problem had been stated. This is how they're going to, this is the methodology. To describe an approach, 6, this is gorgeous. To describe an approach, this is the methodology. To question a claim scientists make, no, they're not questioning anything to, unless the problem is, I'm going to go back one. Yeah, no. I wanted to get rid of this, but this isn't the problem in the scientific studies. This is just moths or nocturnals being little sneaky bugs. To explain why there's no preference for this. To announce an unexpected research find. No, this is the methodology. 7, main purpose. Let's grab the end and then work from the top to the bottom to summarize. These masterpieces, these bars are so deserving. So this is huge. I can tell that. Now let's go to the start and start reading what this text is about. Today, Jay is known for one-hit wonders, let's say, one hits. However, less famous shows creative instantiates. I did my best there, boys. Main purpose. To describe similarities, we do not have the similarities. That's not the purpose. To argue that, yeah, to give more attention, that's a bold claim, but where is it supported? He says, deserves as much fame. To encourage music lovers to listen to music by many different, to encourage music lovers to listen, no, it absolutely does not. Like this, it's not different composers. It's different parts from this one composer, and it doesn't specify the person's learning process. What's the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole? Wow, okay, more than 7,000 in all. I'm not even going to summarize that. Let's just start fighting our fights. It underscores the extent of CEP's impact on the civil rights movement, maybe. It underscores the extent of the impact. They had 7,000s, sure. It illustrates CEP organizers' efforts to educate participants on a wide variety of topics. Maybe. I interpreted the 7,000 to be people from this one, but maybe it means something else. So I'm going to dip into the surrounding text to see if it's people or topics. Led by experience. No, we're defining attendees. So not topics, but attendees. And that supports what I thought was true about A. It suggests the attendees held a diverse array of opinions about the conference's political. No. This attendees, the more than 7,000 in all, is just telling me that there's a lot of them. The impact, a lot of them. All 7,000 people might have actually just believed the exact same thing. And they came here because they all believed the exact same thing in the exact same way. So the language of this would have to be so different for C to be accessed. Though I could see I could get there through making some jumps, but A is still pretty cute. It establishes that criticism was limited. No, a few individuals. If we were even dealing with a few, it would be like only 7,000 in all. But I've got the language that's supporting a hype man, and I like that. 9. Which question does the text most... Which question? I don't know what... Which question does the text most directly attempt to answer? I don't know what bucket to put this in. It feels like an according to based on, which means I'm going to read this text and I'm going to keep in mind the ideas that I'm skimming this text. A contraction of y'all, pronounced y'all, has long been used as a plural version for you in southern and black communities around the U.S. In recent decades, most other English-speaking communities in the U.S. have begun to use y'all. What explains its rise in popularity? Many varieties of English use no pronoun that specifically addresses more than one person, and instead of using you to address both one person and more than one. But y'all always refers to two or more people. As a result, it conveys the speaker's meaning more precisely than you can. So I'm anticipating this to be according to based on, which means I'm going to support this with something from this text. How many other plural versions are there besides y'all? I don't remember that ever coming up. Why has the pronoun y'all become more widely used? I think that B found support. Yeah, right here. What explains its rise in popularity matches onto my offer for B. When was it? I don't remember a year of when, just that it was. Most commonly referred to reading besides the U.S. In the U.S., around the U.S., yeah, no. B. 10. According to the text, what was surprising about researchers' mapping of the magnetic field of galactic bone? So what's surprising about galactic bone? So we're going to, according to Bason, we're reading the text, trying to find this detail, and then we're going to dig in. Using Sophia, a team of astronomers mapped out the magnetic field of G47, one of the Milky Way's galactic bones, dense clouds of glass. This is describing it, dense clouds of glass. Surprisingly, this is huge for my surprising, obviously. The map revealed a magnetic field with no clear pattern or direction, which is as expected. So this is where we're living, a magnetic field with no clear pattern or direction. No clear pattern or direction doesn't speak to strength. It implies that previous mappings of the magnetic field were inaccurate. I'm skimming to see if it is saying that researchers had expected to be more similar. So their expectation doesn't seem to be coming from ones that were accurate and flawed. So I'm going to move past that. One of the Milky Way's galactic bones. So B's going to fall because it's just not supported in the text. I don't have the notion that there were other ones that were done that were wrong, and that's what informed their expectations. It produced a magnetic field similar to those of other. No, it seemed to be different. That's what was surprising. It revealed a magnetic form that was not uniform. Yes, no clear pattern or direction. And if I don't know what that means, the more uniform there is absolutely supportive of my choice. 11. Which choice most effectively uses data from the table to complete the statement? We've got winning candidate James J. Polk. According to the table, James J. Polk received 170, too easy. 12. Use data from the table to complete the statement. The estimated impact of we should be reading the titles on these. Estimated impacts of invasive predator species on threatened birds, mammals, and reptiles. Estimated impact of invasive mongooses on threatened mammals is the estimated impact of invasive mongoose on threatened mammals, 0.75, 0.75. 13. We've got a claim that we are supporting, and we've got quotations. Let's ignore all of this yap and just go right here. Experienced riders who mainly bike to work tend to prefer routes that reduce their travel time. Reduction of travel time is the notion that I'm clinging to in what matters. So I'm going to push each of these through this lens. I have a bike, but I don't ride very often. When the weather is nice, no, this is like weather pertaining, not reduction in travel time, not like seasonally cuteness. I just got a new bike and I'm looking forward to going on rides with my friends soon. Nope, absolutely fair. I want a reduction of travel time, not a way in which to build camaraderie with the homies. I bike to my job every day. There's a nice path that goes through a park, but I use the bike because it's faster. I love this because it's faster. I usually bike to work, but taking the bus now because I'm taking the bus now because my bike. This is like that bikes suck. I don't know what would be distracting about those. Ooh, this one seems chunky. We're getting excited here. This is what we live for. Those other graph questions were kind of a joke. Which choice best describes data from the table to support the researcher's conclusion? Meantime and between time, ain't we got fun? In seconds spent per flower of 4 pollinator genera. Okay, so we've got meantime. That's what this is. Spent per flower in 4 pollinator genera. Okay, researchers concluded that the effect of floral damage on time spent per flower. This is overwhelming. I love it. All right. The effect of floral damage on time spent per flower. TSPF is what we call it in the biz. Varied. So varied is huge. We'll put that in all quotes. whoa, we are accidentally pressing every single key that we have access to. Varied in both morph and genus. I am going to try to understand what they mean by morph and genus. This means genus. Now, morph, I'm assuming that thrum is morph 1 and pin is morph 2, or I guess I'd flip those concepts around, but I could skim the text for that concept. This is pin morphs, so yeah, pin is morph 1 and thrum is morph 2. So I want to see change somewhere from one of these rows or columns and one of these columns and at least 2 rows is my expectation. So let's start feeding these chunky boys through this lens. Looking at A, for pin flowers, good start. We're engaging with one of them. Damage led to longer times per flower in all pollinated. So damage led to longer. So is this, for pin flowers, is this column bigger than this one? Yes, 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 yes. True. Whereas for thrum flowers, damage led to longer times per flower. Thrum flowers, damage led to flowers only in H and O. H, that is longer, that's shorter, that's shorter. A is true. Is it doing what I want over here? Floral damage on it varied in both morph and genus. So I've got the different morphs, pin and thrum, and I've got genus, all 4 represented there, and then the only shows that 2v2. So this is gorgeous. A is so beautiful, so much so that if I were pressed for time, I would just full send on this guy because he's giving me everything that I want. But I have 10 minutes, and I'm going to be so sad to be not doing this test in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to take my time and just fact check everything, feed it through this lens. So we want both this and that. Compared with pollinators belonging to the genus Osmia, pollinators belonging to the genus Zyklopia spent less time. So this one spent less time on damaged pin. This one spent less time on damaged pin. That's not true. Spent less time on damaged, but more time on damage. Neither of those things are true. Neither of those things are true. Yeah, neither of those things are true. Damage led to shorter time on C. Damage led to shorter times per thrum flower in 3. Damage led to shorter time per thrum flower in 3 pollinators. Damage led to shorter in 3 pollinator. Damage led to shorter time per thrum flower in 3. No, because we already proved that it was true for 2. That falls. Pollinators belonging to H spent, no, I'm going to just take this off the table. We are living in thrum v, oh no, thrum and pin, but I only have one genus here. I only have one, these are called genus, so then D falls 2. A is our gorgeous first choice. Was I right that this, compared to pollinators belonging to the genus Osmia, pollinators belong to spend less time, yeah. A is it. 15, logically complete the text. We're nearing the end of our journey here. What do we got here? This suggests, so we're obviously going to have to go back one. We've got today. What do we got now? Now, there are enough zines. Oh, that's zins is the degen thing. Zines in the United States to support annual. There are enough zines to have parties. I would imagine that the previous sentence is speaking to something like they were terrible, but then there's like this building interest or something of the sort. At first, the internet appeared to have replaced the Zine, but this old form persists, so much so that there are enough Zines to have parties. Creators can reach a larger audience by posting online. That is true from this idea, but we're trying to follow the suggestion that there are enough to support Zine festivals, so that's not focusing on that. Zines are still meaningful. That aligns with it, right? Though the internet is dunking on it, it can still have meaning. Creators can continue to explore art forms. That loses the narrow focus of the final sentence that we're on, and a good source of mainstream culture. That they're barely hanging on by a thread, though slightly building. I wouldn't do that. That they're just meaningful. We can look around, challenge mainstream culture. Yeah, it's not a good source of mainstream culture. Go to the internet for that. And then most logically completes the text. Therefore, the discovered ship was likely, go back a sentence, when it was exposed to air and water, wood rots quickly unless it is protected. I don't know how to contextualize that, so I have to go back one more sentence. They found a wooden hull in a flooded. They found wood without protection of sediment rots. Therefore, the discovered ship was likely protected is going to be my anticipation. Covered by protected. Yeah, A is giving me exactly one of several. That there would be many doesn't prove anything. A confirmation of previous theories about wood type. Nope, we don't have a statement about wood type. And first constructed much earlier. No. A, I mean, I love when I see the one that A is giving me just being exactly what my expectations are. Couldn't be more beautiful. Thanks for hanging out. That is the entirety of this beaut.